To all my people who still watch wrestling, welcome to another episode of Yes, We Still Watch Wrestling. This is Steve Dent, my partner in crime, Shaq. He's not here again this week. He should be back with us next week, fresh off his trip, man. I hope you had a good time, bro. I'm going to hold it down for you until you get back. Y'all bear with me this episode. This right here, this is different as we try to get better week to week. We just try to get better and better. Trying to fit some of the audio issues finally caved in. They got some headphones for the podcast, and so y'all bear with me. Me hearing myself talk through the headphones is not something I'm used to, so hopefully I don't do something to kill the vibe or anything like that. But right now is a great time to be a wrestling fan, man. We just came off a AEW pay-per-view, which I'm going to talk about one match specifically here in a second. We got Money in the Bank coming up Saturday. And we also got Heat Wave coming up Saturday for NXT. Both events that I just named taking place in Toronto. So let's get into it, man. Let's talk about it with our opener, man. Once again, since it's just me, this episode won't be long. I try to keep y'all here no more than 30 minutes at a time. Hopefully, y'all can listen to me and my homie Shaq when he gets back, and hopefully we can guide you through the work. Whether you on the way to work, whether you just left work, whether you're at work right now listening to this, whether you're at home cooking the meal or whatever it may be. I hope we can be some good tour guides for you through this thing we love and call wrestling. All right. So first and foremost, man, let's get into AEW. Let's get into the pay-per-view that it just had, Forbidden Door. Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Can we just be honest? I do like AEW. I like AEW a lot. I appreciate AEW from what it is. I know it's a change of pace between WWE and AEW because AEW have things that they value and WWE have things that they value. So it's nice to get the other side of the coin and watch other promotions. In regards to this thing called wrestling. I'm gonna be honest with y'all though. I only cared about one match on this entire. Well, I take that back too, because I always Mercedes Moné is my. She's my GOAT female wrestler, so I always want to see her wrestle. I wanted to see the Toni Storm match and Mina, but I honestly because I'm so used to AEW pay-per-views being so long, right? So long is on a Sunday night. I thought the Toni Storm match would be later on, so by the time I logged in and started watching it, that match had already happened. So I'm mad I missed that match. But I tuned in to see Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Two of the best wrestlers on planet Earth. Will Ospreay is worldly renowned as one of the best wrestlers, if not the best wrestler on planet Earth. Swerve Strickland is finally getting his due. He's having a great championship run right now. And credit to him because his championship run is being done without much of storylines, right? He's building, and when I mean not without much of a storyline, I'm talking about as far as before the matches are announced. Like Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland was announced, and then they started building it up towards the match week after week with promo after promo and things and other different engagements that they had. So he's doing this with most of his matches going like that. He doesn't have a storyline that can lead up to the match before the match is announced. So credit to him because he's having a great title run right now. But that match, man. Bleacher Report, which I'm waiting to talk about this when Shaq gets back. But Bleacher Report just dropped top 10 matches of the year so far. And I want to say it was strictly between WWE and AEW, right? and number one was Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson, and rightfully so. I remember watching that match and saying, if this ain't a 5-star match, I don't know. If this not a 5-star match, I don't know what the definition is of a 5-star match anymore, right? I said the same thing about Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. And maybe Will Ospreay is the common denominator, but Swerve Strickland, in my opinion, is just as good of a wrestler right now. He's in the prime of his career. He's at his apex. And that match was sensational, man. They had the classic opening that Will Ospreay is known for, using his athleticism to have a great sequence to start the match. And then there was storytelling throughout the match, of Will Ospreay just simply not giving up, no matter what Swerve did to him. Excuse me. He was not giving up. And then Don Callis comes out, tries the hands on the screwdriver, ends up costing him the match. Kyle Fletcher comes out at the end to console him, which had me thinking if they're gonna do Kyle Fletcher versus Will. Yeah, I was thinking if they would do that, and I'm gonna get to what they might do here in a second, right? But that was an amazing match, man. 5-star contender for AEW match of the year with that match that he had with Bryan Danielson. I hope I didn't say Daniel Bryan earlier. If I did, my apologies. I don't know about y'all, but I still have to get used to that. But that match he had with Bryan Danielson, both of those, in my opinion, are 1 and 2 for match of the year. At least AEW. I would debate that Cody versus Roman need to be in that mix somewhere. Need to be 3 matches in contention, but that's just me. Okay. But phenomenal match, man. I was thoroughly pleased with that match, man. I look forward to what's next with Will Ospreay, because if you saw episode 8, one thing that I was talking about with episode 8 was it too early? Because now what do? And I thought Will Ospreay would lose, but I didn't think he would lose clean. And granted, Don Callis did come out distracting him a little bit, so technically he didn't lose clean, but at the same time, like, there was a gap between when Don Callis interfered and what happened next. So, what happens now that Will Ospreay lost? Do you give him an immediate title match at All In? Right? Does that match happen? Do we get Swerve Ospreay too? He's the international champ, and this is where I said this is where the confusion comes into play, because he's already the international champ. He's set to defend the title. This episode is being recorded on a Tuesday, July 2nd. Tomorrow's July 3rd, of course. Tomorrow we have AEW Dynamite, and Will Ospreay will be defending the international championship against Daniel Garcia. So he still has that belt. So what do you do now? And based on the news that we got yesterday, I'm starting to think we have an idea. Now, I've been on a bad streak with predictions. That video that I dropped the other day or last week about Roman going after Seth Rollins, that's after what happened to Paul Heyman. That's null and void. So that prediction went south. I done messed around and I lost the last pay-per-view. Dang, I can't think of what the last pay-per-view was. Oh, Clash at the Castle. I lost my prediction streak with Shaq. So my predictions haven't been hitting it off, right? I don't know who would be next to step up for the challenge. Swerve, maybe they have another battle royal or a number one contenders tournament or whatever they do in the Owen Hart tournament right now. So I don't know what you do, right? You might have part 2, or did you see the news that came out yesterday? So this whole time we've been debating, and let's get into Ricochet. We're gonna talk about Ricochet again for 2 weeks in a row, right? Well deserved, by the way. I know it was not expected, but I love Ricochet, man. I think he's a phenomenal talent, man. Phenomenal wrestler. But with Ricochet, so news came out yesterday that his contract is officially over with WWE. There are 2 things that I believe can happen with Ricochet. Number one, which is the least likely of the two, he could, because do I want to say this now or do I want to? One thing I wanted to talk about later on, and maybe we'll touch on it briefly right now, is Bronn Breaker. Um, and we'll talk about him more later on, but we could see him Saturday in Toronto at Money in the Bank. And I'll talk about how that's gonna look later. But he could get involved in that match. Or two, which is the most likely to happen. Ricochet debuts on AEW tomorrow night and challenges Will Ospreay to a match for the international title at All In. I think that would be an incredibly major match. I think the wrestling world will lock in. And remember what I said last week and what I've been saying. If Ricochet goes to AEW, he's somebody that they would push to the moon because of his style of wrestling completely fits in with AEW. He would immediately get a title shot. I think you possibly could see that. We could see Ricochet go after Swerve immediately, or we could see Ricochet go after Will Ospreay. I think Will Ospreay is more than likely because if he doesn't have the match with Swerve for the rematch, then you give his people in All In London something that they would be enticing and dying to see, and that's Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. So that could happen. We just predicting right now. I'm not booking officially, but I'm just giving you a prediction of what could happen, right? So we gotta wait and see, man. But shout out to Will Ospreay, shout out to Ricochet, man. We look forward to seeing what's next with you. If I'm being selfish, I hope we see you Saturday at Money in the Bank. But if not, man, I'll be just as equally excited to see him at AEW because, like I said, I think AEW is going to push him to the moon. And I think within a year or two, within the being in the company, he'll be the second black AEW World Heavyweight Champion, man. So we got to wait and see what's going to happen with that. Since I brought up Bronn Breaker, let's go ahead and get into some WWE topics real quick. There's three major topics with WWE I wanted to get on. First, we got Money in the Bank coming up. I'm going to release another video with our Money in the Bank predictions and things like that. I'll probably drop that on Friday, but this episode will be dropping tomorrow. And with Bronn Breaker, man, I think we're all in agreement now. All right. Before I say what I'm about to say, let's scale this back to 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Bronn Breaker's in NXT. And for the most part, everybody is saying, oh, he just getting a push because, he the son of a Steiner brother. Shout out to Rick. He's not really going to be that good, this, that, and the third. I was one of them. I didn't think he was going to be good. A year later, started to pick up business with Bronn Breaker. I want to say a year later is when he turned heel, when he turned on Carmelo Hayes in NXT. And then he starts his heel run and starts to open people's eyes with his heel run. So maybe we've been doing this Bronn Breaker thing whole wrong. Maybe this whole John Cena-ish thing is not where it's at. And he started to open a lot of people's eyes. But even then, we still had questions on whether he would be good or not. Y'all, Bronn Breaker debuted, I want to say on Raw. And I want to say he had a match before WrestleMania, but he officially was announced after WrestleMania. WrestleMania was in April. We're in July. And if we're honest with ourselves, which most of you already have been, Bronn Breaker went from somebody who we did not even think was going to be good to future WrestleMania main eventer. It's going to happen. It's written out. They are already talking about how they're going to push him when they get on Netflix. everything is already in the writing's on the wall. And I did not see this coming. But when you look at Bronn Breaker, from his aura to his wrestling ability to his speed to what I believe is the best spear in the history of professional wrestling, he has main event star written all over him. He has future world champion written all over him. Whether he gets that belt or a belt soon, we don't know. We don't know right now. I think it's too early to give him a belt. But hey, sometimes when you gotta do it, when you pushing somebody, sometimes you give them a marquee win. Did it with Kurt Angle? They did it with Carlito. They did it with a numerous amount of people. It could work with Bronn, right? But props to him first and foremost, because like I said, I did not think he was gonna be good, and he went from being good. I mean, to somebody I didn't think it was gonna be good, to somebody that you can't help but to look at him on TV, pause, and be like, yo, like he has it. He has it. And he's gonna be a future main eventer, man. And with Bronn, man, the only thing I wish was different about Bronn, that theme music, man. I just can't get with it. I'm trying, but his theme music is kind of trash right now. I like the last one better beforehand, but they gotta give him a theme music. I need Def Rebel. You making some fire stuff with the Bloodline. I need you to transfer that to Bronn Breaker, man. Give him a more intimidating sound for his theme music, man. Something that fits him perfectly, and maybe that'll take time. He Bronn Breaker has a match against Sami Zayn Saturday at Money in the Bank in Toronto for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't see Sami Zayn losing in Canada. I just don't. Um, like I said, we could see that other scenario. Like I said, Ricochet going to AEW is most likely, but anything could happen. We could see Ricochet interfere in this match Saturday and cost Bronn Breaker the Intercontinental Championship. I hope I didn't say international a few minutes ago, but because I almost said it just now. But he could cost him the Intercontinental Championship. We don't know, but um, it's gonna be interesting to see how Bronn Breaker does in his first major singles match on a WWE PLE, not counting NXT, but counting a Raw or SmackDown PLE. It's gonna be very interesting to see how he can do. So I think he'll do great, but we gonna see. And he's in the ring with a perfect person that had that first match with, as far as being called up to the main roster and having your first singles PLE match against somebody like Sami Zayn. That's perfect. Perfect. So that should be one of the best matches on the card for sure. All right. A few more things I want to get to, and I am gonna be out of your way. All right. Next thing I want to get to is, well, actually, this is probably the last thing I'm gonna talk about, because I want to spend some time on this, because I'm getting a little frustrated. Well, not frustrated. Let me not say that. I don't understand some of the criticism I'm seeing in regards to a particular WWE superstar who I personally think is absolutely killing it right now. And that's Solo Sikoa. So remember what I said about Bronn Breaker 10 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago? That if you look back 2 years from now, and this is called great development, by the way. But remember I said we didn't think he would be this good this fast? Go back to before Solo made his debut at Clash of the Castle in Wales. Remember, he had just won the North American Championship. After his debut, he had to give up the title. Go back to all of that. Even go back to his time in the Bloodline. Did you really think you saw this coming? in regards to what happened next with him, even when he was announced the tribal heir and everything like that. The presentation and everything we thought was gonna look different. And then they hit us with a swerve. I've said this before on platforms. I'll say it again now. The Bloodline Saga is the greatest storyline in the history. I really want to say professional wrestling, but I'm not. I'm definitely going to say WWE, though. It's the best storyline in WWE history. It's goated by far. I would even include WCW in there. It's the best storyline. All right. And what they're doing with Solo, as far as adding pieces, he adds on the Friday night SmackDown after WrestleMania, right? As Tama Tonga. Now he got Tonga Lord, and now we got Jacob Fatu, right? And I ain't gonna lie, I saw reports that they was gonna do Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam. I thought Roman would be coming after somebody differently, but he had an acknowledgement ceremony, made his whole crew acknowledge him, except for Paul Heyman, who didn't and suffered. They destroyed Paul Heyman. Samoan Spike, Jacob Fatu hit him with a flying headbutt, and then they triple bow bombed him through the table. So I think Solo is killing it. I think the backstage promos, I think the stuff in the ring, like when you watch Solo, when you watch him on the microphone, when you watch his walk out to the ring, when you watch his aura, when you watch his stuff he does backstage, the moment does not seem too big for him. Like he's blending right in, and that's what happens. I'm pretty sure Roman and Paul has been preparing him for this moment. And no, he's not Roman Reigns, people. I need y'all to understand, because y'all doing this with Cody too. Y'all comparing the title reigns, and I'm gonna ask y'all a question later on, and I'm not even gonna answer. I'm gonna end this episode with asking y'all a question, and then I'm gonna actually answer it on the next episode. But y'all can't compare these people to Roman Reigns, man. You just can't. As far as like, forget my fandom aside, right? The history and what Roman Reigns accomplished in this character as a tribal chief, right? Solo is his own entity. He is not Roman Reigns. He's not going to be Roman Reigns, but he needed his own identity as the next tribal chief, and that's what we have now. So I really, as far as like promos, microphones, the only thing about Solo is that he's only had, I want to say, one singles match since this whole story kicked off with him in particular. And the singles match he had was against Cody Rhodes, and the match lasted all of but 5 minutes before somebody interfered in the match. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me wrong if I'm wrong about that. He's been involved in tag team matches, but not any singles matches. And I get it, they treat him as an attraction. I would like to see him wrestle more, because Roman Reigns was already made, right? Even before like the whole tribal chief thing, you say what you want about Roman Reigns with his time as a big dog or the guy or whatever you wanted to call him at the time, but he was essentially already made. He had accomplished a lot already before the tribal chief. Solo hasn't really accomplished anything. He won the North American Championship, but he only had that title for a week. He beat John Cena at Night of Champions last year, but then after he beat John Cena, he went on to lose 23 straight matches. Now, it was easy to forget about that because of how good he is right now with killing his character. However, like we got to get a build up, so that's my only critique. But other than that, like I don't understand what people's problem is with Solo's character. I don't understand why people feel like he's taking L's. I don't understand why people feel like he's trapped. So I don't get it. So y'all gotta explain it to me, because like I said, he's cutting a lot of promos bigger than a lot of people right now. And like I said, he just cut a mean promo in front of the Garden, and he got heat. People are chanting against him right now. If nobody cared about Solo, nobody would be making any noise. So I think Solo is killing it. Once again, the Bloodline Saga, man. Jacob Fatu entrance was absolutely crazy. Def Rebel is killing these entrances. Dang, I cannot forget remember. It's Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga. My bad. Tama Tonga entrance is better than solos, and Jacob Fatu entrance music. I'm talking about just the entrance music. Both entrance musics are now better than solos, which is crazy. I think solo does good with his entrance, but it might be time to switch his too. But needless to say, with the Bloodline Saga, you got the 6-man tag coming up here at Money in the Bank, between Cody, Randy, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. We don't know which three are going to represent the Bloodline. My money is on it being Jacob, Fatu, and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. I don't think we're going to see Solo in this match, but that's just me. I could be wrong about that. It could be Solo, the Tongas, and Jacob Fatu could just be the enforcer at the ringside. That when I say it out loud, more than likely that might be what happens, but we'll see. I love to see Jacob Fatu in the match. I also would love to see a Jacob Fatu versus Kevin Owens match ASAP, but that's just me. So we're gonna see what happens with that. I think the Roman Reigns return is gonna happen at SummerSlam now, with everything going on. With them setting up Cody versus Solo. So since they're setting that up, matter of fact, the more I think about it out loud, Solo is gonna be in the match. It'll probably be Solo and the Tongas. Jacob Fatu will probably interfere somehow, some way. I don't know who he pins. It makes the most sense for Solo to pin Cody. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say Solo pins Cody to set up the match at SummerSlam between Cody and Solo for the WWE Undisputed Championship. I don't know if Solo wins. I know one way or another Roman returns for his revenge, and I have that happening at SummerSlam. So I'm very excited for what happened next. Like, this is cinema all over again, week to week to week to week to week. We don't know what's going to happen with the Bloodline. A lot can happen with the Bloodline. It's a lot of ways the stories can go. They already know how it's going to go. So this is very interesting, man. And once again, y'all that don't like this new look Bloodline or hate no Solo, y'all gonna have to explain it to me because I don't really understand it. All right, but here's the question. We're right under 30 minutes, so it's perfect time. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. Here's the question that I want to leave you all with. All right, I'm not gonna answer it. This is gonna be the first thing that I or myself and Shaq, when he returns, it's going to be the first thing that we address, the first question that we talk about. All right. I'm going to give you, well, let me just ask the question. Who right now, matter of fact, rank these title runs? All right. Cody Rhodes as WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion. Damian Priest as WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Trick Williams as WWE NXT Champion. Swerve Strickland as AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Rank those 4 title runs. And if you're saying that it's unfair to include AEW in it and include Swerve, then we could take Swerve out. But I'm going to leave him in because we are going to talk about it. I want to rank those. I don't think whether he's in AEW or WWE should matter, because at the end of the day, like, even though the companies focus on 2 different things and 2 different aspects of wrestling, they essentially do the same thing. Both companies have storylines, both of the companies have productions, both of the companies are allowing talent to wrestle. It's just that one company focuses on certain things more and the other company focuses on other things more. That's simply it. So I think your title run should be based on what you're making it and how you're doing in your matches and your stories and stuff like that. So I think it's fair to include Swerve. But if you that person that say, hey, Swerve shouldn't be included, because I just named 3 WWE title holders, then hey, don't include Swerve in that. But for everybody else, once again, Cody Rhodes as a WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion, undisputed. I'm sorry. Damian Priest as WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Trick Williams as WWE NXT Champion. And Swerve Strickland as AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Rank those 4 title runs. Let me know what you think in the comments. You could put it in the comments what you think. Like I said, I'm not going to give my answer until next week. All right, when we drop episode 10. All right. So appreciate y'all for checking us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the content. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. All right. So check us out, like and subscribe to the content. Talk to us. Once again, man, we love talking about wrestling. So talk to us, engage with us, comment, critique, however you want to do it. All right. But it's been a pleasure once again for all my people who still watch wrestling and allowing us to be your tour guide. Tour guide. I'm choking up. That means it's time to go. Pause. But my partner in crime hopefully will be back next week, Shat. So until next time, man, thank y'all. Be blessed. Enjoy the rest of your week.